Good morning, everybody. Sit down, please. Welcome back to most of you, but we have a new welcome for a few faces.
Well, that is 52, that is 52. You know what means isosceles?
If you want to change the world, you start doing it yourself.
Oh, I like that book. Oh, that's my favourite. I love it. He's a bright pupil if it's explained to him more than once.
I don't want her to live her life where she stands 5 yards back from what everybody else is doing. And she's got such a lot to offer because she's very clever.
Yes.
One of the things I wanted to talk to you about was same-sex marriage.
Sometimes it's better to be gay than to be single.
Hey everyone, this is Chianain with Hollywood First Look Features, and today I'm here with filmmakers Neasa, Chianain, and David Rain of School Life. This was a magical documentary. Could you please tell us a little bit about your film?
Well, it's a film that's set in the last remaining primary boarding school in Ireland, and the school is located in an 18th century building with like 40 acres of woods around it. So it's all quite idyllic, and our film focuses on two of the longest serving teachers in the school. They've been there for 46 years. And we follow them through a year in the life of the school, and we see how they help three very different characters overcome certain hurdles. And yeah, it's kind of like the Muggle version of Harry Potter.
It was, like I said, very magical. Now, I understand the two of you also went to boarding schools, growing up and for primary school. Was that a primary, like a inspiration for you guys to seek out a school to do a documentary? How did that come about?
No, it was actually, it was just by chance. It was a hunt for a school for our children. We were living in the northwest of Ireland in an Irish-speaking area, and we thought we had sort of found the idyllic place to bring up our children, and they were attending a small village school, and they were learning all their subjects through Irish. And then as time went on, we realized, it was quite a homogenous community. There was very little diversity. And we wanted a broader education for our children because, we had moved there, so we were outsiders anyway, moving into this community, and then they began to feel like outsiders. They began to feel different. They weren't religious. They were vegetarian. So everything about their little lives was different. So we wanted to put them in an environment where difference didn't matter. So we started the search to look for different schools. And
so you guys just kind of came upon this
on a
school.
website.
But when we saw it, we went, wow. And both of us have been to boarding school, as you said, and to schools a little bit like this. And Neasa had a really good experience, and I didn't have such a good experience. I was 7 and my parents lived in Nigeria, and I was sent back to the UK, 6,000 miles. I saw them in the summer only. But I still went to a school that had the same elements. It was an old school. It was run by a lovely old couple, not like John and Amanda, but a headmaster and headmistress. And I remember the headmistress used to read bedtime stories to the little kids. And so it did have elements, but for me, I found it quite traumatic being separated from parents at that age and not seeing them for a whole year. So when the opportunity came, it was definitely a big motivating factor to make a film about a boarding school because of our own experience.
Well, we wanted to know what the 21st century boarding school looked like. Was it any different to what we would have experienced? And we were just blown away by it. Actually, you expected to find traumatized.
I expected
children.
to find children who were very homesick, at being separated from their parents and traumatized, and I really had to rethink my own perception of boarding schools. But it had changed, 30, 40 years later. A lot had changed in the pastoral care of children.
How did they get accustomed to having a camera follow them around? Over how many years? Was it a year period, 2-year period?
Yeah, it was 2 years. We knew we wanted to make a film observationally. We didn't want to do any interviews. We didn't want to use any voiceover. That was always the plan from the beginning. So in order to do that, we knew that we had to disappear and become part of the furniture in the school. So we asked the headmaster, could we have a room in the school where we could kind of, when we're not filming, that we could, we're not hanging around in corridors and, waiting for something to happen. So they gave us a small little, an old drum room, and that's where we located ourselves. So we went to school every day, just like the kids. So we were part of the daily routine. So when the filmmakers were filming, it wasn't like, oh, the film crew are here, And the film crew was just David and I for most of the time. So that really, really helped. So people got used to us being around, and they were all really generous, and they just allowed us to be kind of part of the circle, really. And then John and Amanda, they were extraordinary as characters. Once they agreed to be part of the film, there was never a bad day to film with them. Their classroom door was always open, and that was, I think, based on a relationship of trust. They trusted us. We trusted them, and it all worked out in the end.
To have a very strict rule, and we thought that initially, oh God, that's a bit draconian. No iPads, no iPhones, nothing. They're not allowed to have cameras that they can, film something and upload onto YouTube. Which children are doing nowadays, and that actually meant that they wanted to go outdoors. They looked forward to going out for a game of soccer, to run around, to go into the woods and climb trees. And that's missing. And so it was that extended childhood that we found really special about this.
And they read books. It's so hard to get children to read books nowadays. And these kids, each child has a book under their arm when they go from class to class, and there's always one on their desk. And that's what they do in the dorms. They read books, and they devour books. They know their authors. They're into series. It's not just one book. It's like a series of books. And that's what we found was so special, that somehow these teachers managed to instill a passion for literature in kids, in this day and age. And that was something that,
It's hard to find.
It is hard to find, yeah.
This is a very, very special film. Thank you so very much for joining me today. School Life is in theaters September 8th. This is Carolyn, and you're watching Hollywood First Look Features.
If we don't come here, what do we do all day?
I don't know.
Just sit around doing less and less and getting more and more decrepit.